I decided I wanted to do something to help girls have an inner validation that would make them give them the confidence that they need. So you're not always depending on the outside. You almost need it because otherwise
Yeah.
your life is in shambles based on whether somebody likes your post or don't like your post or whatever. So that
Yeah.
was my driving force behind it. So I created I See Me because I wanted girls to be able to look at themselves and see the greatness within themselves outside of anybody else ever saying anything to them.
Welcome to the Focused Fundraiser. This is where I get to discuss how to focus on the right fundraising practices with experts and founders who are in the trenches, who are doing this hard work, because something that we believe is doing more shouldn't be our goal. Focusing on what matters most should be. Today, I am talking with Jackie Jones, founder of I See Me. Jackie has built this from the ground up, and she funds free programming through community partnerships and creative fundraising, which is what we're going to talk about today. Jackie, welcome to the show. Start us off by sharing a little bit about yourself and your path into founding a nonprofit.
Hey, I went to college to be an accountant because I loved it in high school and then I loved it after I got out of school, but then I realized I'm just going to work. And I've been teaching at a church and loved it. So there was an opportunity came like you can either transfer to another state or, we can give you a severance package. And I went with the severance package and decided I was going to do alternative certification to get into teaching. Did it, loved going to work every day of my life. It was like, now I have this job that's fulfilling, like it makes me happy. And so did that for 26 years. And then I retired and then I had to decide, okay, I miss the kids, but I don't want to go back to work. So what am I going to do? So I realized while I was there that there was one thing that I saw missing in a lot of the girls. I was raised with an amazing father. I have these fantastic brothers. And so I grew up with this level of confidence that I thought everybody had, but I found out when I became a teacher, it was not so normal. And so I decided I wanted to do something to help girls have an inner validation that would make them give them the confidence that they need. So you're not always depending on the outside. And with the growth of social media and all the things that come with it, you almost need it. Like, because otherwise your life is in shambles based on whether somebody likes your post or don't like your post or whatever. So that was my driving force behind it. So I created I See Me because I wanted girls to be able to look at themselves and see the greatness within themselves outside of anybody else ever saying anything to them. So it's I See Me spiritual, emotionally equipped, and mentally empowered. So I have all these things to go forth and do what I need to do and be successful.
Mm, that's so awesome. I'm going to ask you some questions around that slogan, around the mental health crisis, which is really what you're helping with here. But before we do, I want to start with lessons learned as you founded a nonprofit. What
Oh my
was
God.
the first? What were lessons learned in the fundraising side of things, and maybe what was like the first fundraising move that you felt like was actually working and you were getting traction? What can listeners learn from your
The
experience?
first thing is, um, don't apply. I know people say, apply for everything you can. Well, what happens is you live in a land of rejection and then you're sad all the time. So you're not doing anything because you're constantly getting no, 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 no. And I'm okay with getting no's, but a constant flow of no's is not fulfilling. So I would say make sure that whatever it is you're applying for is laser focused to what you want to do. So if it's laser focused to that passion, more than likely, even if you get a no, you've learned something along the way. And so you're fine. So I learned that. Like you can't just, I was applying for all kinds of things. Um, One of the biggest things that moved traction with me was me actually talking to people, just having a conversation with people and being able to say, "Hey, I have this nonprofit, and if you would like to donate either to the silent auction, a healthy snack, or if you would just like to donate to the cause, that would be great." And I'd have an immediate QR code, all the things on the card that you would need. I could pass them out quickly, and I found that those people turned into recurring donors and now I have this like foundation of recurring donors that even if I don't get some of the other things, I can still pretty much take care of all the things that I need to take care of, the basic things that I do. I can still do them. with those recurring donors. So recurring donors are huge, 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 huge. $5 a month makes all the difference. I promise you.
That's such good advice. And I think we talk about recurring donors and that donor base quite often here. And we talk about stewardship specifically, right? So I'd be curious to know what you talked about relationships, and stewardship is stewarding those relationships so they stay a part of your organization. They want to continue to to donate every year. Uh,
Yes.
how do you keep your donor base from eroding? Like, what's your tactics?
One of the things that I have found that works really, really well is staying in contact with them. I send them pictures. Like I have all the email addresses of the people so I can just upload a quick, email of look at these faces. This is what you're responsible for. So I send emails probably about 3 or 4 times a year where they just get a collage of photos so they can see what's happening with the girls. I also send testimonials. So once I get a collage of testimonials of things that the girls have said, leaving out or the girls that I stay in contact with, then I will send those out and say, you're responsible for these quotes. So what these girls have said, you've made this happen. It's not just what I'm doing, it's your funding that helps me be able to do those things. And so I think staying in contact with people because it's so easy to send a mass email you get it individually, but I send it mass. So it's quick, it's easy, but for me, it's grassroots because you're not seeing any kind of faces. You're seeing the faces of girls who are actually in these workshops.
Hmm. I think you're touching a little bit on like the story driven piece of this, of actually like putting a face to
Yes.
this, because so let's you are helping with the mental health crisis, which has a lot of statistics, but donors
Yes.
don't necessarily, statistics can almost dilute the importance or the impact. How do you make your donors feel like they're not buying a statistic, but they're giving into something that's going to actually move the needle?
Love to do videos also. So when I
Mm.
do a workshop, I'm not just doing pictures, I'm doing videos as well. So you can listen to the girls have conversations. So let's say we're doing an activity and they're at a board doing a particular activity. You can listen to their conversation. And so I've already gotten like when they register, they tell me whether they want their face to be shown, whether they want their voice. So we get all that taken care of on the front end. But when you send a donor, um, even an audio of listening to girls talk about how this is making a difference, and especially when you hear a volunteer saying, I needed this when I was a kid. Like I'm enjoying this as much as you are. And you hear that, that is a connection you can't let go of. Like that creates a memory in your mind. And I think that makes a difference. So although it does hit the statistics, but you get to actually feel like you were there when you're hearing or seeing the actual things that's happening in the workshops.
I think another piece to this, I noticed that you are certified in AI with Microsoft for using this ethically with nonprofits. So let's
Yes.
talk about AI a little bit with this relationship driven piece, because relationships are so important. I'd be curious your take. Where does AI actually help with this, and where does it cheapen the human connection?
Here's what I found in my little few years. For me, it saves me loads of time with the mundane work. If I am trying to create a flyer and I have the logistical information, I'm more of because that accounting side of my brain, I'm an Excel girl. I'm not a PowerPoint girl. I want the lines. I want them straight. I want columns. That's kind of my thing. So my brain thinks that way. My brain doesn't think the other way. So if I can give you all the information and put it into AI and then they create this beautiful flyer because you have my brand colors. So I use it for that. So all of that information is already there. You know what I See Me is all about. You have the brand colors, you have the fonts, you have all those things put in there. I just put in the logistical information and you can pop out a flyer. It would take me all day to create a flyer because I'd be so busy trying to get lines straight and make it perfect that it would drive me crazy. But if I can pop it in there and you can create it. So I find there are great services for it on that end. For me, the logistical part of things. As far as when it comes to keeping my relationship with people, I'm very, um, mm, um, motherly when it comes to that. I don't need you to write up what the girl said. I want it in there exactly how she said it. I don't need you to fix it. I don't want you to dress it up, because then I think it takes away the authenticity of what a girl has said. If she said it like this is how I want it. If she wrote it with a small eye, even though the English teacher in me freaking out, I still want it exactly the way it's written. So for AI, for me, the logistical parts of things that I don't, I, this works and doing that, it's great. I don't allow it to replace the authenticity of what I'm doing though. So if it's giving me stuff that's saying, hey, this is what girls say, no, I'm going to replace that with what my girls are actually saying.
Yeah. Yeah, something
Yeah.
that we talk about often is AI automation. It should be an exponent to the human relationship, not a replacement,
Yes.
meaning it only helps you scale the amount of relationships you can manage because you're not writing all these notes down or you're not spending time on the flyer. You're actually spending time on coffee dates and like getting to know your donors.
Yes.
So that's a big piece.
Yes. Absolutely. And I love that. So it took me a long time to get into it because my daughter kept saying, you need to. And I was like, no, thank you. So when I finally did, I realized, you know how much stuff I could be getting done? I'm getting done so many other, like the things that matter to me the most, I'm getting those done because, like you said, I am having time with the girls, with the donors, and building a relationship, telling stories versus why is this color not right in this flyer? So I love it for that reason.
Well, and you do have a very clear brand. I love the slogan spiritual, emotionally equipped, mentally empowered. Was there a time where that wasn't as focused or was muddier and you were working towards that? I know that it's easy, especially in the AI space, to not want to like muddy the waters with other things that you could be talking about. Like, how do you stay focused on that?
Because every time I say it, for the longest, I was like, it is too long. It's too long. Like, it needs to be shortened. But every time I've either sat with a girl or I've worked on an affirmation workshop, I realize all of those components are so important. There is a spiritual component. It doesn't matter to me where your spiritual wants to go to, but for me, it's there. There is that like emotions at this day and age and what's happening in the world, being equipped in those emotions is huge because our girls are not, it's just all over the place now. And now I can do all these things and I use my emotions and sometimes my emotions, I don't know how to describe what they are or all of that. So that part, I was like, okay, you got to be equipped when it comes to emotion. Okay, then when I can't leave out the mentally part, it's like, but I don't want you to just have it. I want you to be empowered mentally. I want you to go in with that. That's where that confidence piece comes in. So I started it because I started talking about like defining who you are. That's kind of how the name came up, like not allowing someone else to write your narrative, but writing it for yourself. And so I would do these mirror talks. And in the mirror talks, I always talked about, I see me, I see me, I see me. And then one day, all the letters came in. It was like the S is this, the do E's are that, the M and the E. I was like, oh my gosh, that's good. So I kept it, but I did wrestle with it because I kept saying it's so long. But when I don't have it, it I don't know, it just throws me off. So all the pieces need to be there. And I promise you, AI has tried to adapt it, and I adapt it right back. Like, no, we're keeping it just like this.
That's good. So another piece that I'm curious your take on this, Jackie, because you're a founder of a nonprofit, founders can often the scaling of a nonprofit can often stall a little bit because everything runs through the founder. You're figuring things out, you're making sure everything's working, and it can be harder to hand off some of those pieces. So I'm curious to know, what have you handed off? And what are you still holding on to?
Literally within the last probably about a year and a half, hand it off. Like when we do these affirmation workshops, I was doing it all. I spoke, I ran the activities. I was running back and forth, making sure like, okay, I'm gonna do this activity. Okay, y'all are just gonna watch it. But then I'd be over here, I'd start this one, then I'm watching this one. And I was like, you cannot. So now I have a group panelist that I use. So in this city, I use these. I can pull from this group. In this city, I pull from this group. In this city, I pull from this group. I have that. And then I have particular people in each town that handle the activities. So I train them and then I can let it go. Now, it was very difficult to let it go. Very, very difficult because I said, I know it because I created it in my head and God didn't give it to me. It's just being a teacher and being around kids. And I'm around my nieces all the time. And so like, we'll be driving. I'll say, oh, I can do this. I can use that for this, to this. And then because it's in my head, it's hard for me to let it go and let somebody else do it. But my volunteers who are amazing, amazing. I have like the best volunteers. They like, if you just, we got it. If you train us, we've seen you do it. We know your energy. We got it. And so this past year, I have not done the speaking. I have not done the activities. I just kind of create them and come up with them. So that's huge for me. Huge because it took me a couple of years to let that go.
What are you holding on to still that you need to let go?
I need to let go of the creation of it. Like I need to be okay with them. I think after this year, I'm thinking they will have done it enough that now when they come up with stuff, I can just say, you got it. I trust you. You can run it by me when we do our training and we can go ahead. So that's what I'm working on now, letting go like, because I do. I love creating the activities because that's that teacher side of me. And so I do love, that's part of the baby, part of the nonprofit for me. So but I'm going to let it go because I really do need to focus on like handling the board, working with them because sometimes that's my group that I need more time with. I need more time with my board. So I need to let go of this so I can grab a little bit more of that.
Well, you're not alone. Most founders, myself included, we love to build. We love to get our hands into everything and come up with new
Yes.
ideas. And so it can be hard to let things go and
Yes.
step from building into mentoring those that are now building for you and with you. And so
Exactly.
it's a big piece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right. So,
All right, Jackie, this has been fantastic. I always end with the same question every
okay.
episode. I call it the tactical takeaway, something very practical that fundraisers can get from you today. So the question is, what is one thing that every fundraiser should do today that you believe matters most?
Get to know your donors. Connect with your donors. If it's via email, if it's snail mail, if it's a shout out on social media, whatever it is, make your donors feel like they're not just a dollar. Make them feel like they're in it with you. So everything that whether it's their time, service, or treasure, it doesn't matter. Whichever one that they're donating, make sure that you're connected to them because your connection to them, I've had so many donors that I've gotten other donors because I'm connected to this donor. So they get up, because they've become passionate, they have allowed people to come in with them. So I would say definitely connect to your donors. Don't just let them, even if they only donate one time or they volunteer once, still stay connected with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I were to rephrase that, I think I hear prioritize stewarding your current supporters rather than
Oh,
trying to find
I
new
love
ones.
that. Yes. That is
Awesome.
perfect way to say it.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's something that I preach often is stewardship is the new acquisition. That's how you keep your donor base, how you keep the lights on, like you said, with recurring
Yes.
donors. So
Yes, absolutely.
Jackie, thank you so much for joining the conversation. You brought so much energy and wisdom to this. I appreciate you. How can
Thank
listeners
you.
find you and connect with you if they want to?
I am on icmefoundation.org. There's the website. Email is i.c.me.in2020 @gmail.com. I'm on LinkedIn. Most of the socials are all I see me. So I look forward to new connections.
Awesome. Yeah, you can find her there. And if you are curious about how DonorDoc can help you find this clarity we're talking about and building the
Yes.
retention through what we call smart stewardship, you can visit us
Yes.
at donordoc.com to learn more. We will see you next week.
All right. Thank you.